Hey guys, Matt Walker here. I'm in a little bit of a rush today, so I'm going to quickly go through this one, but this was day, I want to say 13, 12 or 13, Body Beast. Anyway, it was legs, third time through legs. I'll correct it tomorrow if it wasn't correct. Anyway, third time through legs, and as you can see, I'm dripping sweat here. Worked my butt off, my legs are shaking right now. I'm holding onto this bookcase a little bit to sort of stabilize myself because I'm shaking like crazy. Here's my tip for the day. I want to go ahead and talk about this before I forget. So I'm actually going to show you. I may have talked about it earlier in my video series here. I have got, well, that was a fiasco. Gold's Gym RX 59. That's my that is my bench that I use. It was really cheap. It was like 50 bucks at Walmart. Not a big deal at all, but here's something I noticed. When you lay it down flat, as you just saw, the top of the weight bench actually sort of shifts back and forth on a little pendulum. And when you're doing in and outs, working your core, if you use the top of the bench instead of the seated position of the bench, you actually have to work your core a little bit harder because the bench, the back brace wants to shift back and forth. So you have to actually use your core just to stabilize this back of the bench that you're using as a seat. Wow, I hope that made sense. I was so distracted. But anyway, if that didn't make sense, somebody leave a comment and I'll remake the video. Anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks. LOL! Okay, so that last video was basically a joke. I went back later and watched it and realized that pretty much everything I said made no sense because I was rushing like crazy and people walked in during the video and I just said nonsense. So I'm going to go ahead and explain what I meant in that last video, and to do that I'm going to actually have to pick up the camera. So here we go. You're going to get a little fun tour here. This is what I meant to do without zooming in the camera. And it's the Gold Gym XR 5.9, not the other way around. And this is not anything special. This bench right here was very cheap. Like I said, I got it at Walmart, but what I was focusing on, what I was trying to tell you guys about, is this little feature right here. See that little tiny piece of metal that holds the whole top of the bench up? See how it shimmies back and forth here? Yeah, that's because it's only being held up by that one thin piece of metal right there when you've got it down at its flattest, most positioning. So when I'm doing something like chest press, I am going to use it in its flattest, most position like that. So, like I was saying, when you do in and outs, you're working your core. But what I like to do is, instead of sitting on the seat of the bench, which you really couldn't do with this particular bench because it's actually slanted back towards the back brace. But instead of sitting on the seat, I sit on the back portion of the bench, and that way, like you saw it do, how it rocks back and forth on its axis like that, I allow it to do that. I like the fact that it does that. It's a weird little added bonus that I didn't know I was going to get when I purchased this piece of crap bench. And it's not a piece of crap. It's been fine for me, but it was cheap, you know? So it's a little bonus that I didn't realize I was going to get, is that when I'm doing in and outs, I work my core a little bit harder because I'm having to stabilize myself from rocking back and forth. So if I tilt over to the side and then lift my legs up towards my stomach, I'm working the left part of my core more than the right part of my core. Or if if the bench shifts to the right, then I'm working the right side more than the left side. And I try to keep it in the center, but once in a while it's kind of fun to purposely flip it over to the left or purposely flip it over to the right so I can work part of my core a little harder than the other side. So that was all I was trying to get at. It was just a fun little tip. You might not even be able to use it because you might not have this bench, and you could do the same thing without the bench. Just if you're just sitting on your butt on the ground, just tilt to one side, and so you're on one hip bone or on one one of your sit bones more than the other, and then you'll be able to do the exact same thing I was doing. So hopefully that cleared it up. I know this now, putting these two together is going to be a long video, but hopefully that made more sense. So that's all I was trying to get at in the first video. Anyway, Matt Walker from MattWalkerFitness.com, and I will see you guys tomorrow.